In any city, in any country, go to any college dormitory you can get yourself into. Ask the guard at the front desk if the holder of identity is in his room. The worker will tremble slightly and inform you that he just left the building and that you must have missed him outside. Thank the guard and proceed outside. The scenery will have changed and it'll be a bright spring day no matter what time you left the dormitory. You will be standing on a concrete pathway surrounded by grass with a large fountain placed in the center. Students will be lying on the grass, laughing loudly, and playing games. They will invite you to join them, but you must politely decline. If you accept, they will attack you, killing you in the slowest possible manner. Your task is to find the holder, and it will not be a difficult one. He'll be wearing long black robes, and his head will be covered in blood. If you approach him and tap him on his shoulder, you will get his attention. You must ask in a calm, polite voice, "Who are the victims?" Saying anything else will cause him to remove his hood. If you are driven insane by the sight, consider yourself lucky, for it may give you some small relief from the eternity of torture facing you. If you have done everything correctly, the holder will begin to speak. His voice will be low and soft, but it'll fill your soul with intense coldness. He will tell you of every person that has died and will die because of the objects. He will tell you of their lives, their loved ones, and the impact that their death has upon the world. The calm scene around you will fade as he tells his story. The students will grow older until they die and their bodies rot, and the fountains will start flowing blood. You will feel personally responsible for everything the holder tells you, but you must remain impassive through all of this. This seems to be a demanding task, but after all you have been through, it may be quite easy. If you listen to the holder without so much as a twitch, he will ask you what you intend to do with this knowledge. Smile at the holder and ask him, "Why ask what you already know?" The holder will nod somberly and hand you his ID card. He will crumple into dust, and the dead bodies around you will awaken. They will be quite mad at you, as the holder was the only thing keeping them at peace. The only way to escape this is to put on the robe the holder was wearing. No matter what your size, it will fit you, so don't worry about that. If you manage to put it on in time, you will wake up in the grounds of the school you last attended, holding the ID card. The ID card is Object 201 of 538. It'll get you into anywhere you need to go, but beware of what you find inside. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself into, and ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of clairvoyance. The worker ought to narrow their eyes and glare at you, keep asking until they hand you a pair of glasses and lead you around back. Wear the glasses. You will be led down a long, narrow hallway with an open window at the end. There will be rope hanging over the windowsill. Grab it and pull. If the rope suddenly becomes lighter, or if your guide takes you anywhere else, run. It doesn't matter where, just run. What is chasing you is something no human was ever meant to see. At the bottom of the rope, as you'll find once you've pulled it all the way up through the window, is the corpse of a man with a silver coin in his mouth. Remove the glasses as soon as you catch sight of the coin. If you do, you'll see the coin melting into the corpse's flesh, rejuvenating it. If you don't take them off in time, you'll see the corpse's flesh spread out, enveloping you, and you'll be trapped on the end of the rope forever. When the coin has disappeared, release the rope and ask the question, "When will it all be clear?" The corpse, living again, will grab the window and slowly pull itself up, all while telling you the truths of the world and all the horrors will hiding behind the world's countless lies. He will tell you of every dirty, terrible secret of mankind, and he will tell you when the facade will crumble. And at the end of his tale, he will ask you for the glasses. Now, if you give them over, the truth you just learned will be banished from your mind, and you will be trapped on the other side of the window. If you refuse, he will say, "You have seen what really is." Respond with, "Nothing is clear," and the man will disappear as the truths sink in. Put on the glasses, and when you are ready, then flee where you came from. Do not attempt to remember the exact directions, just keep running, as if the devil himself were at your heels. When you finally collapse, you will feel an eternal second of hideous agony. When you awake, the glasses will be in your pocket. They grant the ability to see the truth of a statement. These glasses are Object 202 of 538. Do you really wish to see through the lies? In any city, in any country, go to any museum or art gallery you can get yourself to. Approach an information desk and ask to see the holder of images. The worker may give you a blank stare, but eventually will turn and lead you through the very back of the building and stop at a large set of double doors. Upon opening the doors, you will find yourself standing before an unimaginably long corridor, furnished with an elegant red carpet. As you walk forward, you will notice a variety of pictures lining the walls on either side of you. They will all look unnervingly familiar, as they are paintings of your past memories. And at the end of the hallway, you will see an enormous painting that covers the entirety of the wall. On it will be painted a detailed picture of another set of double doors. However, as you proceed, it would behoove you to not view the paintings, as they will become more distorted and horrifying with each step. Whatever you do, do not stop thinking about the double doors at the end of the hallway. If you take your mind off it for more than a second, the large painting at the end of the hallway will start to fade. If the painting fades completely, the first thing that you thought about, most indescribably deformed, mind you, will replace the double doors, materialize from the canvas, and rip your pitiful body to shreds with ease, and devour your soul, making you wish you had been given the option to live in the depths of hell. If this should happen, feel free to run in the other direction, for the doors from which you entered will be gone, leaving in its place another stretch of hallway that extends far beyond infinity. If you somehow manage to keep your mind focused on the doors by the time you reach the painting, the doors will materialize as you reach for their handle. When you pull it open, you will see inside nothing but a white room with a single closed sketchbook propped up on top of a table. As you get closer to it, your mind will start to race with unspeakable images that will seem as vivid as though you were seeing them with your own eyes. Do not dwell on them for too long. If you do, you will forevermore live inside your mind in a hellish nightmare far worse than anything the human mind is capable of conceiving. If this is to happen, and if you are sane enough to remember this, shout, "What will help us remember?" and the images should stop. In addition, managing to reach the sketchbook will make these horrible images cease as well. That sketchbook is Object 203 of 538. The sketchbook allows the owner to save memories as detailed, sometimes moving, pictures that will invoke the same emotion, sounds, smells, and any other human senses onto the viewer when looked upon. However, the more memories saved in the sketchbook, the more the owner will lose their sanity. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the holder of imagination. The worker will stare into your eyes as if he can see your very soul. Do not look away, for if you do, the worker will dive at you, engulfing you in a black shroud as you tumble for eternity through unreality. After a moment, the worker will lead you down a long hallway that seems to lengthen the longer you walk. Eventually, after what seems like hours of walking, he will turn around and run in the opposite direction. Do not turn around, for if you do, the walls will close in, slowly crushing you. After you hear his footsteps fade away, close your eyes and imagine a doorway. Then turn around and open them. Where you came from the hallway should now end with a single doorway. If the doorway was in the shape you visualized, you have succeeded. If it is any different than you pictured, in even the slightest detail, you have failed, and should pray for a quick death. When you open the door, you will see an endless, twisted hallway with many windows. Outside these windows lie the greatest fantasies and fears you could ever imagine. Do not look through them. They will tear out your eyes, filling your mind with the most terrible images of unobtainable want, leaving you to wander endlessly, tortured by what is not and cannot be. Continue down the hallway, staring at the ground and counting your steps. Once you have taken exactly 204 steps, look directly to your right. There will be an open window looking into a child's bedroom. There will be a young girl that appears to be about 7 or 8 playing with a glass globe. She will only reply to one question. Why do they need it? She will look up directly at you, and the globe in her hands will glow with a bright blue light. The light will tempt you, but do not let your eyes stray from the girl. Slowly, the light will get brighter and brighter, until you can no longer see anything but it. You will feel as if you are almost one with the light, when suddenly it will stop, and you will be inside the room with the girl. She will smile peacefully before collapsing. Quickly take the orb and dive out the window behind you. If you wake up in the room with the girl, you are hers now, forever enslaved. If you were quick enough, however, you will wake up inside an abandoned house on the other side of the asylum, the glass globe next to you. The glass globe is Object 204 of 538, and will allow you to see the darkest fantasies of whomever you wish. Beware, your new power will come to be a great burden. The holder of influence. Now, this man used to work for a certain country's intelligence agency. He won't say which one. Over the course of his experience there, he learned certain techniques that are known to be effective in gathering data. Now, whether he approves of these methods used this way is, sadly, left to speculation. Whatever the case, he now speaks at seminars and sells a packaged crash course of a modified version of the technique he was taught. He's known to be based in Florida, but you'd be hard-pressed to find him there, since his work calls for travel. This is where the object comes into play, and he knows about the certain threshold of brain frequency that one crosses as one is falling asleep, and in fact, by now it is common knowledge to those who have been shown even a passing glimpse of the realms of the alpha and theta waves. The delta band, although placed at different frequencies for everybody, is where one is when he or she is in such a deep sleep that there are no dreams present. Indeed, everyone who trains in meditation knows that it is actually a portal, a gateway, if you like, into higher level of mind operation. This has been tagged as many things, enlightenment, awakening, and other variations of such a concept. It's not an accident that in normal human beings, the only time they will show a dominating arc of delta waves is if they are deep in stage 4 sleep. Very few humans have ever been capable of slowing their brain frequency down to the delta band without falling asleep, because the knowledge granted the person during this state is not meant for the unprepared. The holder himself calls it the godlike state. Be forewarned, if you attempt this excursion unguided, you must maintain total trust in yourself. A task easier said than done. The man has decided to teach his technique to any and all who can afford it. Whether or not this is truly a good thing, we can only do our best with what we have, and let the chips fall where they may. If you've encountered this state of mind, then you should already know to be alert, because it didn't stick with you for no reason. The conscious state of Delta is Object 205 of 538. Use it well. In Kenai, Alaska, go to the highest point possible, be it a hill or the roof of a building. Bring a weapon, preferably something powerful. There you will meet a man of 35 with short gray hair. He wears pants, boots, a trench coat, and a hat, all black. In his right hand is a folded black umbrella. He will look at you. The smile he gives you will be unnerving, his glacier blue eyes staring straight into the depths of your already tortured soul. He will remark about how nice the weather is. Do not agree with him. Instead say, "It's a little hot for me." Upon hearing this, his already eerie smile will intensify, his eyes narrowing in satisfaction. As he opens his umbrella, you will begin to notice the snow that falls around you is falling much harder than it was, and the temperature has dropped significantly. Eventually, you and he will be the only ones left, staring out into a vast field of white. The sea itself is completely frozen, and the land around you has begun to transform, turning from city streets into bare, cold wilderness. The man will look up to the sky and smile. Above is the aurora in all its beauty. Look deep inside of it. To simply admire it is not enough, and you would have wasted your visit. Study it as if it were the most fascinating thing you have ever laid your eyes upon. If you still fail to notice something odd, then thank the man and walk away. When you return to civilization, get rid of whatever objects you may already have. Give them to other seekers, destroy them, whatever you deem to be fit. You are not the one to reunite them, and your effort has gone to waste. Go on with your normal life, if it still exists. If you are a true seeker, one of the few there are, then you will notice an anomaly in the maze of lights. A small door made of translucent light sits in the aurora's center. Acknowledge its presence by nodding and saying, "I see the way to broken dreams." Please note that nothing will happen if you say this without seeing the door. If you truly see the door, and you feel calm, a stairway of scintillating colors will lead towards it. Take the stairs. The walk will be long, tiring, and cold. Press on. The knowledge that you are truly one of the chosen is precious enough to drive you forward. Do not stop, lest the holder change his mind. Eventually, you will reach the door. Open with a clear mind and a calm expression. Inside is a floating island of ice. The man will be waiting for you, his hat tilted to hide his eyes. Nod respectfully towards him and offer your hand. What happens next is his decision. If he disapproves of you, then ready your weapon. His umbrella instantly freezes anything it touches, and it is going to be used against you shortly. However, if he believes you are truly worthy of your title, he will shake your hand, leaving it in a small, transparent crystal. The inside of the crystal dances with the exotic colors of the northern lights themselves. Thank the man and walk out the door. You will find yourself outside of a cafe near your home. The crystal is Object 206 of 538. When the lights come forth once more, the end will be nigh. In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. When you reach the front desk, ask to visit someone who calls himself the Holder of Hope. A look of solemnity will etch itself upon the worker's face, and they will lead you to a door deep within the facility before turning and leaving. Open the door and enter. As soon as you enter it, you will realize it's you, isn't it? The one that will bring them all together. Don't. I beg of you. This isn't what they were designed for. The items you have are all more dangerous than you could possibly imagine. Please, whatever you do, don't. Once the final ghost has been dealt with, turn and enter the door. Inside, you will find a young man. His mahogany hair and emerald eyes appear subdued in the blank white expanse around him. He will turn to you and, please, for the love of whatever you find holy and dear, cease your search. The gods died using them. They were used to silence, mortal. I wish to be reunited with my kin. Damn it. I can't hold off its influence. The items, their entities, they were made by the gods as a failsafe in case... No. Not yet. I am Hope. I will make sure that this ends, that history does not repeat itself. Please, I beg of you, end this right now. Destroy the items. Seal their souls in the depths of hell. Only then can we stop. The poor fool. I know what you truly want. The holder and his lies. We both know what we're for. Take this box. It is object 207 of 538. Do not open it yet. You will know when the time is right. I'll be waiting. When we all come together, then the world shall begin as it was supposed to. After all, isn't perfection what we all strive for? In any Western nation, in any neighborhood, enter a family home. Should you encounter a woman, ask to speak to the holder of the firstborn. If you encounter a male, calmly leave the house and try another home another day. If you do ask the woman, she will look at you as if you're lying to her and lead you through a darkened hallway, silent save for the strange sighing of the ventilation at your feet. She will lead you to a closed door with faint light emanating from the bottom. Take a deep breath, for your next reactions require you to have your wits about you. The woman will dismiss herself, but not before declaring, "Son, you have a visitor." However, should you turn to look at her, you will find nothing, only an endless path into the darkness from which you came, along with the sad cooing of the vents. Take care not to gaze into the blackness for too long, as the emptiness instills a deep sense of longing and lonesome that will prove fatal. It is best to keep your gaze upon the floor. Steel yourself and firmly grasp the knob of the door in hand. With your free hand, knock on the door exactly twice and pause. Quickly, before you hear a voice, you must ask, why were they jealous? Quickly open the door, enter, and scan the room within one blink. If the room appears barren, you must quickly back out of the room and shut the door firmly behind you. Do not flee yet, as you will not escape the darkness intact. Instead, press your back to the closed door and apologize profusely. Should a young man's voice reply, "You're not allowed in my room," you will know it's safe to leave. You must find your way out of the darkness on your own. Should you make it out, you must leave the house and continue away on foot until the sun arises again. If you are foolish enough to drive there, consider your vehicle lost. It is his now. Do not stop unless dismemberment is among your new favorite pastimes. Should you enter and find the room inhabited, remain and make yourself comfortable. The hard part is over, and the threat is past for now. Inside, you will find a young man in his mid to late teens, sitting in a chair, holding an unplugged electric guitar. Though he strums it, no sound comes out. He will stare at you condescendingly, and will only respond to one question. Why were they jealous? You must stand firm as you ask this. Do not waver before him, lest what you seek be forever beyond your grasp in this life. Hold firm, and he will respond. They wanted what they were not yet ready for. The young man will set the guitar down and leave you in the room alone. Temptation will set upon you to touch the guitar, but you mustn't. If you do, your life will end, and begin again as a newborn to the family of the house you entered. Leave the guitar, and instead investigate the room. You will discover something. This thing is never the same, but you'll know it when you find it. It'll take the form of an item you coveted as a child. As you set hand upon it, your skull and stomach will feel as though they've been struck with blunt force. Try not to cry out. Any sign of weakness, and you're finished. A world of pain just ahead. When you wake up, the object you found will be in your embrace. Whenever it was that you entered, it is now the first day of autumn. That object is 208 of 538, a grim reminder that brotherhood breeds contempt. Though they must never reunite, it longs to be together again. The wise seeker will bring the White King's sword, and perhaps other objects as well, for this is a trying task. At any museum within view of the Atlantic Ocean, ask the curator if he can show you any remnants of the holder of the Eastern Seas. He should take you into a previously non-existent room deep within the museum, which has a great display of Valhalla, the Vikings' afterlife. He will ask about that sword of yours, for he has had his eyes on it since you entered. Tell him anything, but make sure you mention that the White King is ready to defend his honor. For if you do not, every stuffed man, woman, and beast in the museum will come to tear you asunder. If you do, he will shove you into the Valhalla display, and you will land on a wide field, standing with 7 Viking comrades, facing a horde of thousands. Here, only the truest warrior will prevail. Fight alongside Vikings as hard as you can. You must outlive your companions, or everything was for naught. Once your allies are dead, keep fighting no matter how hopeless the battle. Soon, invariably, you will be struck down. Ram your own blade through your heart before you die, and feel the slow, creeping blood of death crawl through your veins, and watch the Valkyries lift your soul. You have died. Once you awaken, you're still dead. However, by dying, as mentioned, you have been sent to Valhalla, the pantheon of gods and men. If you wish to escape the pain, the objects, you need not worry. Here, you are safe, should you choose to accept death. Upon seeing the Valkyries carry them off to this beautiful, peaceful bastion, many have decided that they've done enough. However, if you choose to go on, you must find Odin himself. Bow respectfully, and ask to see the holder of the Eastern Seas as reverently as you can. Odin may deem you worthy, and take you down to see the holder. That holder is in the middle of the earth, bound to a rock, with a serpent dripping venom eternally into his eye. That holder is the god Loki. You may only ask one question of Loki, or the snake will give him respite long enough to devour you. Ask him, what part does Valhalla play in this? What do they have to do with Odin's kingdom? He will describe to you Ragnarok in all its detail. Then he will tell you why it will happen, and what he has to do with it. Finally, he will tell you the second-hand suffering the earth will feel as Ragnarok wages on. However, somewhere, he will speak of a place where they were made. When he is done, take his loot. He needs it no more. Loki's loot is object 209 out of 538. Getting here was the easy part. Now, can you drag yourself back from death? In any city, in any country, go to any mental institution or halfway house you can get yourself to. Upon arrival, walk straight to the front desk and request an audience with the holder of sound. When you speak, you may realize that you cannot hear yourself or any of the noises around you, and that the receptionist will neither look up nor respond to your request. If this isn't the case, leave the building and don't return, for your selection of institution was a poor one. If indeed all is silent around you, look to the left of the desk and find a hallway that wasn't present prior to your arrival. Head steadily down the hallway, eyes focused on straight ahead, and locked on the door at the far end. As you progress, your sense of hearing will gradually return, and screams of agony as well as one-sided conversations that only the clinically insane could think of will fill your ears. If at any time the endless babble ceases, cover your ears and shout with all your might. What has been granted mustn't be lost. If the voices come back, consider yourself lucky that you'll be allowed to see another day outside of a room padded with the innards of past seekers. Continue on down the hall until you arrive at the door. Knock once and push the door open before receiving an answer. Inside will be a completely empty room, save for one small cot in the back. Sitting on the cot will be a young man of perhaps 19, bloody bandages where his ears were. He will be sitting there rocking back and forth, mumbling to himself. Approach him and pull the bandages away from either side of his head, leaning in close to the bloody pulp to ask a single question. Ask anything other than, "Will we understand?" and you will suffer the same fate as this man. Once the question has been asked, a rush of future events surrounding each of the objects will flood your mind. Horrific detail of every unjust death and injury at the Seeker's hands will play through your mind over, pummeling your fragile psyche with countless waves of despair. If you keep your sanity throughout the visions, you will find the young man dead and bleeding on the cot, an ear clutched in his hand. Take it from him, leave the asylum, and never return. The ear is object 210 of 538. May the truth of the objects never reach your ears.